guys, so I'm just gonna make my third video about my story. The first one, just to recap, was about me going to the psych ward. Number 2 was when I was raped in high school. Number 3 well, you'll see. So I wanted to talk about, so the last story was me being raped by someone I knew, and I realized this, and I knew it was wrong in high school, but I guess I didn't realize the full extent of how much it affected me. So that happened in June of 2012, and that following fall, me and that guy broke up. And I guess I didn't realize that the two things were connected, because after we broke up, that's when I first started having suicidal thoughts. And I thought I was just being dramatic, just because we broke up, and I was just like heartbroken, and I thought it was just because of that, and I was just being super dramatic and all of that. But I'll go into a little bit of different things in high school. So during high school, it was my senior year, yeah, I guess it was my senior year, I had many thoughts of suicide. I would like to go on drives at night, just to like clear my head and think of just what was going on, and just to get away. And I would listen to, of course, like Taylor Swift music. Like, her Red album had just come out, and I would listen to that and just cry in my car and drive. And I drove like the same route in high school, just like around and around for like hours, just to get out of the house. And I remember one night I was driving, and one of the songs that I was listening to just like struck a chord with me, and I got really depressed and inside my head, and I thought I would just drive really fast and just veer off the road, and hopefully that would make all the pain go away. And part of the reason why I never did that was I felt bad. I didn't want to wreck a car. I didn't want to cause any sort of car accident and get anyone else involved. That wasn't the whole point. And then also in high school, I was thinking, if I did this, what if I just ended up being a vegetable for the rest of my life and made myself even more miserable? So I didn't do that, obviously, but I thought about it several times, got close several times. The other thing I did in high school, I tried several different things, unfortunately. I had a small mirror in my room, and I broke it into like shards, and I cut myself several times. But I am a real big baby with pain, so it wasn't nothing that I needed to seek emergencies for, but I did cut myself several times. And I remember doing it on my wrist once, and someone called me out for it, and I remember making up a story about it, and then I started doing it like on my thighs where no one could see it. And I remember thinking, like, I don't know why people do this, and still thinking, like, I don't know why I'm so, like, depressed, and why am I doing this, and I don't understand why people would want to hurt themselves, but here I was doing it. And then I remember in high school, the thing is, when you go to the same school as someone who's done that to you, you don't have a time to process it and time to get over it. I would see him every day in the hallway, and I was scared every single day. And we had intermixed friends, so we would see each other and my friends would talk about him, and I could never get away from it. So I never had time to process what happened in high school, and for the longest time I just blocked it out until I got to college and started thinking about more of like what had happened and putting it into perspective and getting space from like high school. And anyway, so in high school, and he would just continuously harass me in high school and keep an eye on me and tell me I'd never be happy without him. And even though he's the one who broke up with me, he was just very abusive, obviously. And in high school I tried more things. I had a lot of scarves, and I would try to make a new set of scarves, and I'd get it all the way around my neck, and I'd be standing like on top of a chair and about to step off, and nothing happened, and I was too scared to do it every time. And I remember back when I had a Twitter, I don't have one now. Back when I had a Twitter, I had posted something on Twitter like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but something to the effect that it's over and I'm done with life and things like that. And I remember my best friend like rushing over to my house, and I was in the shower, and they came rushing to my house, and she came sprinting upstairs, banging on the door, and was like, "You can't post those things, like everyone's scared for you, like what's going on?" And I think that's the first time anyone like noticed something was going on, because in high school I was like a straight A student. I was involved in all sorts of extracurriculars, and I never let anyone know really what was going on. My best friend in high school, she didn't know what happened to me until after I had graduated college. So I kept things pretty bottled up. I think that's part of the reason why it led me to suicidal thoughts and things like that, is because I didn't talk to anybody about it. But I remember in high school just being scared to go to school. I didn't want to deal with what was going on. I was trying to get into college and get good grades and everything like that. But I just remember, like, one night, I feel like I thought about suicide daily. And I remember one night I was just distraught, and I literally had nothing else to do, like nothing left to live for is what I thought. And I was sitting in my room, and I had my Bible on my lap, and I was just like praying, and I was like, God, if I have something still left to live for, like show me, show me that I'm worth something. And it's super emotional, but I had flipped open my Bible and was just trying to see, like, I'm gonna flip open my Bible, I'm gonna put my finger down, and if this verse like relates to me and tells me like something, then I'm not gonna kill myself. Because right before then I was making a noose out of scarves, which is super embarrassing to say, but I opened the Bible and it landed on Jeremiah 29:11, and it says, I know the plans for you. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you. And that hit a chord with me, and I actually have that tattooed on me because that verse saved my life. If it wouldn't have been for that, I would have hung myself, and that would have been it. But I found that verse, and it was just so perfect, literally telling me that God has a plan for me and things to prosper me and not to harm me, and things that were going to get better. So after that, I didn't really have too many suicidal thoughts. I was still depressed because of things that had happened, but then again, I didn't realize what had happened necessarily. I knew that it wasn't right, but I didn't realize that it was rape. I was just more upset that I didn't have the boyfriend anymore, and we were so head over heels for each other that I was more distracted on that part and not what had actually happened, which is unfortunate. Well, anyways, then I went to college, and he didn't leave me alone. He hasn't left me alone to this day. Actually, that's a lie. Last time I heard from him was in January. So 5 months, and this has been 6 years since this has happened. And I've had to live with it, and I've tried blocking him and different things, and it's a constant struggle. When someone has that much power over you, they'll do anything to make sure that they still have that over your head. I've deleted them on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, their phone number, everything, and they'll find ways to get a hold of my friends, try to get a hold of me, text from different numbers. I remember one year I had my Snapchat, and one of my friends told me that he had messaged her on Instagram trying to see what I was up to, what I was doing, and just in general in life. And she was like, I'm not going to tell you, it's none of your business. And he ended up finding me on Snapchat and sent me a black screenshot that says, I found you. So it wasn't just this one instance in high school. The harassment has kept going. So that was kind of hard to deal with, and still is. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. But the whole point is, it's just because it happened in one night doesn't mean that it stops there. The harassment keeps coming. I've dealt with it, and I haven't heard from him in about 5 months, which is good, so hopefully I won't. But anyways, so in high school I had all sorts of suicidal tendencies that no one knew about. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell any of my friends. My parents never knew anything. No one knew. I did talk to anyone about it, and I didn't realize what it was associated with. So I really didn't understand why I was suicidal until I went to the psych ward. The psych ward was helpful in ways and also made me very angry in ways. So my first story is in my second video, and throughout my college experience I was assaulted many times. There was an instance where we were at a party with my friends and we were dancing and having fun, and some guy decided to come up and dance with me, and I was single, I don't care, I'll dance with people, that's fine. And he decided to try to stick his hand up my pants. I was wearing shorts, and up my pants. And obviously that did not allow that to happen. So I was able to get away from that instance. Another instance, I went with a friend to a different college, and we met up with our friends, and I thought some guy was cute, and I told her that he was cute, and they were just joking around, but they pushed me into a room with him and locked the doors. There was 2 exits to the room, the front door, and then there was like a side door that conjoined like the bathrooms together, and they locked those doors and held them shut until he took advantage of me. I was able to get out of the room eventually, but that was not a great experience either. I've kind of blocked that one out of my head. My friend feels really bad about it 'cause she locked me in there. But the most recent experience, which I should have broken this up into different videos, but oh well, I'm on a tangent. The third experience was December 12th of 2015. I had a boyfriend at the time, but I went to a Christmas party. It was right after finals and everything. I went to a Christmas sweater party with one of my friends. And another instance happened there where I was there at the party and I hadn't been drinking. I was just hanging out and having fun and playing games, and it was just a casual party, and there was a guy with a dog there. And if you know me, I love dogs, so obviously I wanted to go up to the dog, who was also wearing a Christmas sweater. So I went up to the dog and pet the dog and started talking to whoever the owner was, and we started talking about dogs and things like that. We were just sitting on the couch next to each other, chit-chatting like you do at parties, meeting people. And I decided to, didn't really think much of that guy. I just decided to stay the night that night, just because it was late and I didn't want to drive back home, but I hadn't been drinking. I only had, I just had one drink, a very small drink, and I wasn't intoxicated. And I stayed the night that night, and they told me it was my friend's boyfriend's house, and they told me I could stay on the couch downstairs on the futon. Okay, that's fine. I felt safe there, and I slept on the couch, or I went on the futon, and I had just taken my shoes off. I obviously didn't bring a change of clothes or anything, so I was just in my Christmas sweater and jeans. And that guy who had the dogs, I remember him coming into the room, and he said something about he needed a place to sleep too, so the futon was like the size of like a queen mattress, so but it wasn't pulled out because it was just me on it. So I remember him walking into the room, and he went up behind me to like lay behind me, and I thought he was gonna, I don't know what I thought. I was just like, what is he doing? I was just kind of like, what's going on? I was confused, didn't really think about it. And I remember him like laying behind me and like cuddling me, and I was really uncomfortable. And just as I was like about to be like, hey, like this is really weird, and I did say that, so he got up behind me and was laying behind me, and I'm fully clothed, literally head to toe, with a sweater and jeans, and he pulled my pants down, and I tried to get up, and he had an arm over me, and he was like, he had really 6'5" and super in shape, and so there was no way I would be able to get out. And he had his arm over me, and he pulled his pants down, and that's when he forced himself on me. And what I was able to do was, my arm strength is not anything. What I was able to do was just kind of donkey kick him. And he was really drunk, so it wasn't like too hard, but I kind of took my foot and just yammed it into his calf, and he like let go for a second, so I was able to, I literally was laying on the couch and sideways, and I kicked him and he let go, and I literally rolled off the couch, grabbed my shoes and ran. Obviously didn't put them on. I just ran out the door, and I had my keys in my hand, and I started my car, and I just sped off, and he tried to run after me, but I was speeding, and I sped all the way to Ohio, which is where my boyfriend was. And I tried calling my best friend, but she was asleep, so her boyfriend answered and told me that she'd be awake when I got there. I got to my boyfriend's house, and I remember telling him, actually he wasn't home yet, he was at work, so I just sat there and I talked to my friend and told her what happened, and I was just stunned and mortified and emotionless, kind of, just like straight face. And I talked to her for a little bit, and then my boyfriend got home and I told him what happened, and he didn't care. He blamed it on me and said why would I let him in the room, and I didn't know why I let him in there. It was just, I was confused and I didn't know what was going on, and all of a sudden he was just in there, and then he made me go to Walmart and get him things that he needed from the store. So that's what happened after that happened. That boyfriend was not very good either. I was sexually harassed at work, and someone slapped my ass, and I told him that, and he said you should take it as a compliment. So this boyfriend wasn't great, so we broke up. So anyway, so that instance that happened at the house party happened in December, and I ended up trying to commit suicide in January. And at the psych ward, during that session, after I came back to the second session and told them, like, hey, I realized, like, this is probably why I've been sexually assaulted, I've been raped, and the guy told him one was someone I knew and one was someone I did not know, and he we kind of talked about it for a little bit, and even the guy at the psych ward, it makes me so angry. Someone who talks about rape every day, someone who is a chaplain, someone who deals with things like this all the time, even he asked me, well, what were you wearing? He had the nerve to ask me, what was I wearing? Now, why does that matter? 1. 2, pretty sure what I'm wearing does not affect anyone else's actions. 3, someone else raped me. I'm the one who, I don't know why you're asking me questions. I don't want to say I'm the victim here, but I am. And 4, I was wearing a long sleeve Christmas sweater with jeans. The Christmas sweater wasn't low cut, it literally was a crew neck Christmas sweater. My hair was down, and I had jeans and boots on. I don't know what more of my body could have been covered unless I was wearing a face mask. But this guy had the nerve to ask me, well, what were you wearing? To this day, that makes me so angry. Even if I was wearing booty shorts and a tank top or whatever, that does not give anyone the right to violate me. But it makes me even more angry because I was literally fully clothed. And this guy thought, you know what would make it better when you're talking about your story to someone for the first time? Let me go ahead and ask, what were you wearing? Because then he asked me, well, did you lead him on? And all of these questions. I'm like, no, obviously not. Even if I had, if I say no, then no means no. But okay, tangent over. Anyways, so at the psych ward, people who are supposed to help you still don't understand rape culture, and they are contributing to it, asking the victim, what were you wearing, and not questioning the man who committed the crime.